It is great to be with all of you, with some great friends like Congressman Dan Muser, Congressman Lloyd Smucker, Mrs. Christy Perry, Speaker of the House Mike Turzai, all the great Americans who have come from near and far all across the Keystone State, but it is especially great to be here with so many incredible women for Trump. And speaking of which, it is a particular joy for me to be with someone who I've known for years. She was a champion for educational opportunities across this country for decades, long before much of America had heard her name. And she's continuing to make an incredible difference in the lives of families across this country. Would you join me in thanking Betsy DeVos for all that she has done for the cause and for the country? But it's really great to be with all of you here tonight. Thank you all for coming out. What a week. I mean, last night, I had a real good seat at the State of the Union address. President Trump stepped forward and he described the great American comeback. I got the feeling the woman sitting next to me didn't like the speech quite as much as I did. But I'll tell you what, to hear this president describe a blue-collar boom, a rebuilt military, conservatives on our courts like never before, this president said the state of our union is stronger than ever before. And it's the truth. And if last night wasn't enough, just a little while ago, the United States Senate voted to acquit President Donald Trump of both articles of impeachment. Oh, yeah. You know, it's amazing to think about it. After months of a sham investigation, a partisan impeachment, it's over, America. So it's been an incredible week. But I got to tell you, I'm here for one reason and one reason only. And that is that Pennsylvania and America need 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. You know, like all of you, I'm here because I stand with President Donald Trump. When this president stands up for American jobs and American workers, I stand with President Donald Trump. When this president stands up for faith and family and the American flag, I stand with President Donald Trump. And when this president stands up to the radical Democrats, their endless investigations and obstruction, and delivers a stronger, more prosperous America, we stand with President Donald Trump. I mean, it's amazing to think about. Last night, America heard about the progress that we've made over the last 3 years. I'll tell you what, I told the president afterwards, I was never prouder to have his back in my life. It's true. It's true. I mean, if somebody said to me, Mike, you sat there for an hour and a half smiling. And I said, well, if you like the speaker and you like the message, it's not hard to smile, America. It was amazing. But what we celebrated last night, it's amazing to think, began 4 years ago when a movement was born. A movement made up of everyday Americans from every walk of life. Here in Pennsylvania, you believe we could be strong again. You believe we could be growing again. You said yes to President Donald Trump in 2016, and now we need Pennsylvania to say yes to 4 more years of President Donald Trump in 2020. You know, when you think of the last 3 years, I think there's only one way you can describe it. It's been 3 years of action. It's been 3 years of results. It's been 3 years of promises made and promises kept. And we're just getting started, Pennsylvania. It's true. I mean, think about it. President Trump promised to rebuild our military, to restore the arsenal of democracy. And this president has actually signed already the largest increase in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. Under this commander-in-chief, we are once again giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the resources and support they need to accomplish their mission and defend this nation. And with that renewed American strength, we're standing with our allies and standing up to our enemies as never before. I mean, when the last administration was sending pallets of cash to terrorists in the Iran nuclear deal, under this president, we got out of the Iran nuclear deal, and we've taken the fight to radical Islamic terrorists on our terms, on their soil. I mean, just in the last month alone, it's amazing to think of all that our military has accomplished under this commander-in-chief. Think about it. When one American life was lost at the hands of Iranian-backed militia in Iraq, this president launched the first airstrikes against 5 Iranian-backed targets in more than 10 years. And on New Year's Eve, when protesters stormed our embassy in Baghdad, this president sent in the Marines. And he said, no more Benghazis. And when American lives were threatened by the most dangerous terrorist in the world, President Donald Trump took action, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. We couldn't be more proud of our troops on the ground. Even in the wake of the Iranian missile attack, no American casualties, and Iran is standing down. That's what leadership looks like. That's the leadership for President Donald Trump. You know, I'll tell you, I'm your vice president. It's the greatest honor of my life, but the most important title I will ever hold is spelled D-A-D. And I have to tell you, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president, as the father of a United States Marine and the father-in-law of a United States naval aviator. I couldn't be more proud to serve as Vice President to a president who cares so deeply about the men and women of our armed forces and their families. I mean, yesterday afternoon, Karen and I met Kelly and Gage Haig. The whole country met him last night. We heard about that letter that Gage's dad wrote to him. Pulled at my heartstrings. Promised to teach him how to ride a bike, raise him up, train him right, be there when he got married. Gage's father fell, but last night, President Donald Trump proved the American people will always stand with the families of those who serve, especially our Gold Star families. And God bless them all. What a moment. So we've stood for our national defense. We've stood for the men and women who wear the uniform of the United States. But we've also stood with all of you who wore the uniform of the United States. And President Donald Trump has stood with our veterans as never before. Thanks to the President's leadership, we're finally giving our veterans access to the real-time, world-class health care that you earned in the uniform of the United States. Veterans' Choice is now available for every veteran in America. Thank you. You know, I expect we got more than a few men and women that have worn the uniform gathered with us today. Would you mind just putting your hand in the air? Let's hear it for all the veterans that are with us. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. You know, this president stepped up in the last year and also eliminated every last penny of student debt owed by permanently disabled veterans. With the stroke of a pen, he wiped out $750 million owed by 25,000 heroes across this country. So we've stood with those who serve and with those of you who did serve. And this president also knows that national security starts with border security. And the president said many times, a nation without borders is not a nation. And under President Trump's leadership, we've made historic investments to secure our southern border and end the crisis of illegal immigration once and for all. Thanks to the president's tireless leadership, I'm proud to report to you, apprehensions on our southern border are already down by 75%. And we've already started to build that wall on the southern border of the United States. Oh, we're building it. We're building it. You make no mistake about it. And to support the rule of law, this president has stood without apology every day with the courageous men and women who serve on the thin blue line of law enforcement, and we always will. And finally, to uphold the rule of law, this president kept his word to the people of Pennsylvania and people across this country. He's actually appointed more than 180 principled conservatives to our federal courts at every level, including Justice Neil Gorsuch and Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And I'm here to tell you, I know these judges, I know their background. They are all men and women who will uphold all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution, like the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, and the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And finally, I couldn't be more proud to serve as Vice President to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. true. And from the first day of this administration, this president has stood strong for the right to life. We expanded the Mexico City policy to make sure not a single tax dollar ever goes to an organization that provides or promotes abortion overseas. The president just a few weeks ago made history when he became the first sitting president in American history to address the March for Life on the National Mall. And it was my great privilege to cast the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate on a bill that allowed every state in the Union to defund Planned Parenthood. And President Trump signed the bill. President Donald Trump is the most pro-life president in American history. So we've stood for our security, we've stood for our values, and we've stood with families across this country. As I said at a gathering at St. Francis School in Philadelphia today, President Trump and this administration believe that every parent in America should have the right to choose where their children go to school, whether that's public, private, parochial, or homeschool. It's remarkable to think. I just gave Janaea and her mom a ride back to Pennsylvania today. I did. Did you see her last night? Beautiful little family. Karen and I met them in the afternoon, and we were chatting, and what a thrill it was for the President of the United States to take a strong stand for school choice, a decision the people of Pennsylvania made 20 years ago, that you continue to stand strong on despite the fact that your governor actually vetoed a bill that would have school choice. And yet there the president was announcing that little Janaea is going to be able to go to the school of her choice and live her dream. Wow. Well, I was talking to Janaea and her mom in the afternoon, and I said, "Y'all from Philadelphia?" They said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, I'm going that way tomorrow. Do you need a ride?" So we brought them on Air Force Two all the way back to Pennsylvania. It was great. What a great family. And how emblematic, as I was at St. Francis today, I looked out. They told me how many different nationalities were represented there. 90% of the kids in that little Catholic school in Philadelphia have tuition assistance and support. Wouldn't be able to be there but for the generosity of the people of Pennsylvania and the charitable support. And to see their shining faces and to see the light of the dream in their eyes, it just convinced me we will not rest, we will not relent until every parent, regardless of income or area code, is able to choose where their children go to school. Okay. So as the president described last night, we made great progress in national security and border security. We've stood for liberties and stood for our values, the opportunities for all. But there's three more things that this president talked about last night. Under President Donald Trump, it's been about jobs, jobs, jobs. Am I right? I can't believe it. I got a pretty good seat, there for that speech. So I get to kind of watch everybody all the time. I can't believe the president opens up the speech talking about this incredible economy. And how many of the Democrats in Congress just sat on their hands? Men and women. From the first day of this administration, President Trump promised to revive the American economy. You think about it. We were going through the slowest economic recovery post-recession at any time since the Great Depression. The most powerful economy in the history of the world hadn't grown by more than 2%. I mean, when I was a kid, my passbook savings account at the bank grew by more than that. But the president believed we could do better. Pennsylvania believed we could do better. So we went straight to work. We worked to cut taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, and family farms. We rolled back more federal red tape already than any administration in American history. We unleashed American energy, and the war on coal is over. This president fought for free and fair trade that puts American jobs and American workers first, and the American economy is booming. And it's a blue-collar boom, Pennsylvania. It's amazing. Since Election Day 2016, businesses large and small have created 7.1 million new jobs, including more than 161,000 jobs right here in the Keystone State. Unemployment's hit a 50-year low. The stock market is soaring. Somebody told me it set a couple more records today. And most important of all, there's more Americans working today than ever before in the history of this country. And in this booming economy, women are leading the way. True. Since Election Day, women have gained more than 4.1 million new jobs. As the president said last night, last year women filled more than 70% of all the new jobs created, and the unemployment rate for women in America has hit a 66-year low. Women are winning under the leadership of President Donald Trump in this economy. True. And after years where wages were flat and never growing very much, and when I was governor of the state of Indiana, that was one of the most stubborn indicators in our economy. It was just trying to get wages to rise. I'm proud to tell you that wages are rising today at the fastest rate that they have in 10 years. And what you could tell last night means the most to me and President Trump is that wages are rising most rapidly for hard-working, blue-collar Americans. The forgotten men and women of America are forgotten no more. It's a blue-collar boom. And it didn't just happen by accident. You know, just in the last month alone, the president's been building on the momentum in this economy. In fact, he signed a new trade deal with China, phase one. It starts to set the relationship with China right. There's more work to do, but it's a beginning. It's a beginning of setting right a trading relationship that has been so imbalanced. And just a few short days ago, the president signed the largest trade deal in American history. The days of NAFTA are over. The USMCA is here. Just incredible. You know, being a son of the heartland myself, I saw the way NAFTA literally hollowed out entire communities. I mean, Anderson, Indiana, post-NAFTA, used to be in my old congressional district, literally had vast factories that had operated in the automotive industry for years that were just shuttered. They went from thousands of employees to 3. And that happened literally all across America. But President Trump believed that we could renegotiate our trading relationship with Mexico and Canada in a way that took the incentives in NAFTA for moving jobs south of the border away and put American jobs and American workers first. And I got to tell you, I was in on a lot of those negotiations and a lot of discussions. He drove a hard bargain. I'm telling you what, the man who wrote The Art of the Deal made a great deal for America in the USMCA. You just watch. I mean, the truth is, thanks to the president's leadership and the strong support of Pennsylvania's leaders in Congress and all of you, in 3 short years, we've made America great again. True. But to keep America great, we need you to decide right here and right now that Pennsylvania is going to vote for 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. I mean, think about it. Think about it. When you're talking to your neighbors and friends, you can tell them. 4 more years means more jobs. 4 more years means more judges. 4 more years means more support for our troops. And it's going to take at least 4 more years to drain that swamp. You know, the choice in this election couldn't be clearer. The stakes couldn't be higher. I can tell you firsthand, I've gotten to know this man over the last 4 years. Some people think we're kind of different. But we've actually become very close friends. And I can tell you, I can just tell you, Pennsylvania, you have a president who loves this country. He stands by our military, he stands by our workers, he stands by our freedom. He never quits. He never backs down. He believes in you and fights for you every single day. And now it's our turn to fight for him. All right? Because it's on. It's on, Pennsylvania. All right? It's 2020. We're ready to go. And you got all these Democrats out there running for president. You know, I don't know if you saw that last debate in Des Moines, Iowa. I didn't watch it either. I watched clips of it. I figured there's got to be a vice presidential nominee in there somewhere. The truth is, those people were standing so far off on the left, I thought that stage was going to tip over. I mean, come on. I don't even recognize this Democratic Party anymore. I don't know about the rest of you. I mean, the truth is, today's Democratic Party has been taken over by radical leftists who want higher taxes, open borders, late-term abortion. And worst of all, they support policies that would literally crush this economy. Policies that have impoverished millions of people around the world in the last 100 years and robbed the liberties of generations. And that system is socialism. But I think the people of Pennsylvania, the people of the Keystone State, know. It was freedom, not socialism, that created the most prosperous nation in the history of the world. It was freedom, not socialism, that ended slavery, won 2 world wars, and has made America the envy of all mankind. It was freedom. I will tell you that the moment America becomes a socialist country is the moment that America ceases to be America. And so with all these Democrats running around articulating and embracing socialist policies, just like the President said last night, and he said a year ago in the State of the Union address, so we must say with one voice in every day that remains between now and Election Day, America will never be a socialist country. But their policies would be a disaster for our economy. No question about it. They'd undo everything this president has done and then some. And and under the guise of the Green New Deal and Medicare for All, they're just going to bring out those socialist policies. I mean, the truth is, Medicare for All just means quality health care for none. And the only thing green about the Green New Deal is how much green it would cost all of us if they ever passed it into law. I mean, I'm telling you people. I'm telling you people. The choice has never been clearer. And worst of all, these Democrats spent the last 3 years on one investigation after another. These do-nothing Democrats, we know, passed those articles of impeachment. They rushed this partisan impeachment through the House in a shameful attempt, now failed attempt, to overturn the will of the American people. You know, I really do believe that the Democrats keep trying to run down this president because they know they can't run against this president. I think they tried to impeach this president because they know they can't defeat President Donald Trump in November of 2020. Well, that's all over now. It's all done now. Senate Republicans came forward. The president's been acquitted. They've had their say. And come November, we're going to have our say when we re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years in the White House. And while we're at it, let's make sure it's the last time Speaker Nancy Pelosi ever sits in the chair behind the president during the State of the Union address. Let's elect a Republican majority to the House of Representatives. Gotta happen. Gotta happen. But you know, it's great to be with all of them. Because despite 3 years of nonstop resistance and obstruction, President Donald Trump has never stopped fighting for each and every one of you. And now we need you. We need you to take the enthusiasm that I see in this room tonight and keep voicing your support. Keep telling your neighbors and friends. Say, you know what? You know, I ran into Mike the other day. He'd been up late the night before, but he was really still very excited to come and just give us a loose outline of everything we've accomplished over the last 3 years. Tell him this economy's booming again. Tell him we're supporting our military again. Tell him we're standing on the timeless ideals and principles of our Constitution, the American founding again. Tell him America is respected again. And tell him to support President Donald Trump in November of 2020. I'll always believe it. I'll always believe it. I remember back in 2016, I was campaigning through Pennsylvania. And I did one of those Sunday morning shows. And it was 2 weeks before the election. And remember, Hillary Clinton was actually announcing who her cabinet officials were going to be. That's what we call measuring the curtains. I was on this TV show. Every poll had us. There's 2 different types of polls. We were losing by a little or losing by a lot. But I just never had any doubt. Neither did the president, because both of us were out with all of you, and we knew something was going on. We knew the American people were talking to one another. You know, the truth of the matter is the most powerful media is now, always has been, and always will be, not your big mainstream media, not your cable TVs, not your internet, but it's when someone who knows you and respects you hears from you about an issue that's important to them and their family and the state and the nation. So go tell somebody. Go tell somebody. That's what Pennsylvania did in 2016, and we need you to do it again in 2020. Be excited. Be excited about what we've done. It's one of the things that the president's always insistent about. He'll be in one conversation with groups large or small, and when people say, Mr. President, I want to thank you for what you've done for the country, he almost invariably gently corrects and says, what we've done. What we've done. And it's what we need to do again in November of 2020, right here in Pennsylvania. Can I tell you one more story about election night? So you can look it up. We were all standing together at the campaign headquarters in New York. I had my family right here, and the president had his family right here. We were standing with each other watching all these big screen TVs. And Pennsylvania comes to mind, because we were watching some of the early returns come in. We stood there for like 3 hours. You can see a picture of it on the internet. And every time a state came in, he'd go, bang, look at that. He'd go, boom, look how we're doing in Florida. And I say, yeah, we're really doing good. He'd go, bang, look how we're doing in New Hampshire. I mean, one thing after another. But I got to tell you, when Pennsylvania came in, he almost knocked me over. It left a mark. Because Pennsylvania led the way in 2016, and we know you're going to do it again in 2020. True. So thanks for coming out today. Thanks for lending your support. Thank you to Women for, let's hear it for Women for Trump one more time. I encourage you to leave here today and have faith. Have faith in this president. Have faith in this president is going to continue to fight every day to keep the promises that he made to the people of Pennsylvania. Have faith in the American people. When we lay out a choice for the American people, between the right and the left, between freedom and socialism, the American people choose freedom every time. You have faith in the American people. And finally, if you're inclined to bow the head and bend the knee from time to time, I'd encourage you to exercise that kind of faith too. And on this one, in these divided times in our nation where it seems like, in the media at least, that there's more that divides us in this country than unites us, I just encourage you to pray for America. Pray for all of the American people. And I truly believe those ancient words that the American people have clung to in much more challenging times than we could ever imagine are still true today. That if his people, who are called by his name, will humble themselves and pray, he'll do like he's always done through the long and storied history of this great nation. He'll hear from heaven, and he'll heal this land, this one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So pray for America, Pennsylvania. It'll matter. Well, I got to get back to Washington, D.C. and get right back to work. You all do the same. Let's bring it home in November of 2020, Pennsylvania. God bless you, and God bless America.